It will be the season finale for the University of Utah as they take on UCF. Joining us now, the play-by-play voice of UCF, Marc Daniels, kind enough to hang out with us. Marc, how are you?
Hey, Marc.
Hey, guys. How are you? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well. This team started out 3-0 and then have lost 7 out of their last 8 games. There's been a lot of close games along the way, but just unable to finish. When you look back and try to tell the story of this year's team, what are the 2 or 3 big storylines as to why this thing kind of went south?
Well, it starts, KJ Jefferson, the quarterback that UCF thought they were going to bring in an experienced guy that can kind of run the offense that Gus Malzahn wanted to run, and it just never materialized. KJ just did not play to the level that UCF had thought, so that began a ripple effect at quarterback, and that impacted the ability of running the offense that UCF wanted to run. There's some other areas where UCF committed to some guys, both on the defensive side and even some offensive linemen that, again, you go in the portal giveth, portal taketh, and I think they fell short with some of the guys there. Then, when the ball doesn't bounce your way, when you get a penalty against you late in a key drive, and then the negative things just began to take over where UCF kind of wondered, where's the negative moment of the game that it's going to slip away. I think Utah's experienced that as well a little bit. And now you're not playing with confidence like we saw BYU come here when they played UCF. And, the ball isn't bouncing your way. And that began to snowball a little bit. So I think that's kind of where the season went the wrong way for UCF. I think they played in a number of close games where you look at the talent. And I think UCF is as talented as most of the teams they played this year. They just didn't get the breaks and kind of began to have a domino effect, and the season just kind of goes different than you anticipated.
So, Marc, when we came out there to Orlando for that game, they rolled with Ja'Cory Brown to start the game, and that kid, Dylan Risk, comes in and gets hot, goes for a quick 6 of 10, quick 100-plus yards, outthrows Ja'Cory, and just looked good. Had some great moments, another 30-some-odd yards on the ground. How has he been since that moment? Has he been the primary starter, and is that who you're expecting to play and start against the University of Utah?
Yeah, it's a matchup that I'm not quite sure, guys. The 4th quarterback for UCF and a 5th quarterback for Utah. I'm not quite sure people thought that was a matchup at the beginning of the season. But Dylan Risk, got a chance to go and play a couple of series against BYU, played well, but UCF gave him a chance to start the following week against Arizona. He was lights out, played phenomenal against a struggling Arizona team, went out to face a very confident Arizona State football team who threw some things at him after getting more film on him. He played okay. He's not the reason why we lost him. We were certainly in that game late. And then West Virginia, despite a struggling week they had before against Baylor, I think they also showed some new things to a freshman quarterback and kind of flushed him out of the pocket more. But Dylan's going to play this week. He's the starting quarterback for UCF. They used Ja'Cory Brown with certain run packages, whether it be red zone or goal line, and that'll be the case for this week. But, Dylan's had a chance to get some starts under his belt. I think UCF will certainly be interested to see how he plays this week and then what that means in the offseason for UCF. I mean, every position, I think, is up for an evaluation. And it's a chance for Dylan to say, look, I think I've made some progress. Give me a chance. And we'll see. But he'll be the starting quarterback for Friday's game.
Really fun watching R.J. Harvey, already 1,400 yards. That's back-to-back years at 1,400-plus for him. And just obviously just a really special player. What has he done to elevate himself this year? And what are the talking heads saying about him in terms of the NFL draft?
Well, RJ's just a great story. He's a local kid that was a dual-threat quarterback, went to Virginia, transferred to UCF, was in position to be a starting running back, blew his knee out, had a full year of rehab, and has just gotten better the last 3 years as a running back. In the last 2 years, I think it's proven to be one of the better backs in the country. He's a bigger, more physical back. He put about 18 to 20 pounds on, maintained that speed. He's a patient back that allows a block to develop. He's a film freak and studying things, and he's just gotten better. Now the role of a leader. I think he's helped, with some young players through this difficult season. I think he's got a chance to play at the next level. I mean, RJ's height might be a challenge for some teams. He's about 5'9.5", maybe just under 5'10". But the physical back that he is, and he's got good speed, I think it's going to give him a chance to play on Sundays. He just needs the right team to feel like, hey, we've got something here. But scouts have come to UCF games now for a couple of years, and despite the overall team's challenges, I think people have come and seen a talented back. And the struggle of the passing game, you would think, has made it tougher for him to run the ball. But I think that's been a good thing for him, is that he's shown NFL scouts that even though we've gone through so many changes at quarterback, he's still going to go out there and put up big numbers. He's in position to break, a good chunk of Kevin Smith's records at UCF. And Kevin had one of the great seasons ever in college football history years ago. But RJ's got a chance to have most rushing touchdowns at UCF and most overall touchdowns, 46, and numbers like that. So he's had a phenomenal career. Obviously, you'd like to see him go out with a win if you're a UCF fan. And he's been just a tremendous team leader for the Knights through the struggling season.
You're going to have to help remind me if I don't remember this clearly, but I think Kobe Hudson went out in the very first play of that game against BYU. Has he made a full return and recovery? Because he was the primary receiving threat going into that game.
Yeah, Kobe, if you remember, when he went down, you thought that looks pretty serious as a season ending. And to his credit, he worked hard, got himself back in the field. He played the next week and played well. And, I think it's benefited by Dylan's style. Dylan gets the ball out quicker. And Kobe's been fine. He's another one of those guys that's going to play a senior day, and it's meant a lot for him. Last year he played in the shadows of Javon Baker, was a draft pick for the Patriots, and he's elevated his game this year. But he'll play, and he'll walk on senior day as well on Friday.
So in terms of, I know obviously the season hasn't gone the way you would have liked at Central Florida, but there's, a good recent history of excellent football there. Obviously with that huge student body, there's some resources available for this university. So what is the trajectory? And do you feel good that this university, in making that transition into the P5 and into the Big 12, is on the right trajectory? Because it takes some time and it takes some work and effort to get there to where you need to be, but do you feel like they're on the right path?
Yeah, I think UCF has a lot of things that are going for them in a positive way. Look, there's no hiding the fact this wasn't a very good season, and there's some work to do. You've got to go back and kind of evaluate what went wrong in the portal. How do you get it right this time? What are you going to do at quarterback? Where are you going to go with some other players? Where are you going to spend your money in building? One challenge I think UCF still is dealing with is the quality of linemen, offense and defensive linemen. There's a huge gap from the G5 to the P4 level, and I think we're making progress. We've got to get better at that. But there's not there's not a spot on UCF's roster like, hey, they don't need anything. So this staff has to hit the ground running. We all know December is crazy. It's crazy as far as high school signing day, the portal being open, if you're going to make any staff changes, all that has to happen in the next couple of weeks. Look, UCF would love to be in a spot to play a 13th game. They're not. What's the advantage of that? Well, come Friday night when that game ends, you're at work on the 25 season. As far as resources go, look, UCF is at the bottom part of the Big 12 just by the history of how young we are. We've got to do things a little bit different than others from a standpoint of where our athletic budget is and where we want to go. But with a massive student body, a growing alumni base, that's the fastest alumni base in the country. Orlando now is the 15th largest television market. There's plenty of things that UCF has going for it. But the business of college football, as we all know, has changed. And you've got to be right. And if you're going to hit the portal, you got to be able to make sure that you're signing guys that can truly help you. You can't get to the middle part of the season and look back and go, wow, we didn't get performance out of these guys. Florida State's dealing with it as well in Tallahassee. It'll be an interesting offseason for them. And UCF's going to face the same thing as well. And sometimes it's as simple as the quarterback. I say this as a compliment. Cam Ward in Miami, it came down to Florida State, Miami. He chose Miami. Florida State didn't want to wait a little bit. They signed DJ Uiagalelei. If Cam Ward's at Florida State, maybe it's a different season. But it's just how things happen sometimes. You've got to get that quarterback position right, and you've got to hit on some other areas. And we'll see what the offseason will be like for UCF. It'll be busy. I mean, the next 4 weeks will kind of lay the foundation of what the 2025 season is going to be like.
Well, Mark, you treated us like gold out there. Had such a great time. Hope Utah has the same type of experience because it really was a blast. Are you treating them to a rocket launch like you did us?
No, I'm not aware of a launch scheduled. I hope the weather today in the last couple of days has not been a cloud and it's 80 degrees and it's been beautiful. There's a slight chance of some showers on Friday. Hopefully it happens in the afternoon. and it's then a beautiful night. And for Utah fans that are coming, there's so much to do in Orlando and a holiday weekend. The town is packed, and so whether it's theme parks, whether it's restaurants, beaches, I think they'll enjoy it. And we're looking forward to it. We know that they've got a phenomenal fan base, just like BYU, and hopefully, they have a good time down here. And then I'm still invited to the barbecue at your place this summer, right?
That is right. We're going to get together when I'm down there in SB. I'm going to hit you up.
There you go.
All right, Mark.
Awesome.
I love
guys.
it.
Thank you so much. Take care now.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.